anyị nakwa n'obi ikolo mmụọ.
Welcome to another Communal series. Ndi-Ichie. Today I want to discuss women's role in Ordinana, because so many people have been asking me, questions, to know how they can. So many women, ladies, have been asking me questions to know how they can fit in, do's and don'ts. So this station is to help us understand women's role as far as Ordinana is concerned. First, let's know and understand two limitations women face as far as Igbo tradition is concerned. We need to understand these two limitations. Number one, leadership role is clearly for men in Ordinana. In Ordinana, leadership role is clearly for men in Ordinana. This means any role that will place you as a woman over you being a woman over a man is clearly frowned upon. Remember, Ordinana is based on family and clan. Ordinana, like most traditional and conservative way of life, is based on family and clan. The family and the clan is at the center of it. It's not based on individual existence, but family existence and the existence of clan. So a man is the leader of his family, while elderly and titled men are leaders of their clan. Ndi-Ichie, Ndi-Ichie are the leaders of their clan. So we must understand that Ordinana give little room for individual existence. You exist as a member of a family, and that family exists as a member of a clan. So, and leadership role in a family and in a clan is clearly for men. So this limitation is important for us to understand this first limitation, that leadership role is clearly for men. Number two, menstruation. As far as Ordinana is concerned, women's menstrual cycle is a great limitation. It's not like some organized religion where maybe a woman is menstruating and she's preaching. So you see, we believe that a woman's menstrual cycle, we believe that a woman's menstrual cycle is a sacred period, that she's not supposed to be interacting with the public during her menstrual cycle. So you see that this is like a natural limitation for a woman. A woman in her own soul is not expected to play some vital roles in this period of seclusion. Now, having established these two limitations above, that can limit you as a woman within your family and your societal existence, the question is now, to what extent can it limit you in your personal existence? That we exist as a family in Ordinana and we exist as a clan, does it mean that there is no individual existence? And within this individual existence, does this limitation come in? This is where we can now start understanding some roles women can play in their own personal quest for spirituality. So that's why I'm asking these questions, and we'll answer it as we progress. If a woman cannot come into a public or sacred grounds in Ordinana because she's in her monthly period, can she not also come before her personal she when she is in her monthly? Personal prayer to one she is an everyday affair, and a woman has a she. Does this limitation also limit her in her daily prayer to her she? What do you think is the answer? Can a woman in her menstrual cycle call her ancestors to come and take Kolanut when she is menstruating? In her personal prayer to her ancestors. This one is now personal, in her personal space. Can she call her ancestors? Will the ancestors come and take this cola when she's menstruating? Can even a woman privately break cola? Because a woman cannot publicly break cola and give to men. n'ọdịnala. It's not possible. It's her husband that is going to do it. It's her father that is going to do it. Even if the woman has her own space where she is doing spiritual work. You cannot break cola for a man. You cannot break cola for a man. Rather, the husband is going to officiate in that kind of ceremony. Okay. Now, all these scenarios I've outlined, if a woman can come into a public or sacred ground when she's in her monthly, can she also not come before her personal she? Can a woman in her menstrual cycle call her ancestors and give them kola personally, personal prayer between her and her ancestors? Can a woman privately break kola with her she and her ancestors? Now, to answer the above questions, we must state clearly that a woman is a human being and not a slave. A woman is a human being and not a slave. In fact, women are special beings. We must take cognizance of this fact that women are what? Special beings. Their ability to bring life into the world is a sign that they are a special being. Men who are leaders are born by women. Despite that leadership role is meant for men, these men that leadership roles are meant for, are they not born by women? They are born by women. So can one claim to be greater or better than what created it? Because a man can actually be said to be created by what? A woman. So I believe the answer is no. The answer is no. So these limitations in Ordinana does not make women lesser beings. We must understand this. Women are not lesser beings in the eyes of what? Ordinana. Their leadership roles are meant for men. That women cannot break cola in front of men does not make women lesser beings. It does not make them what? Lesser beings. But rather, this, should I call them laws, system, we are instituted to strengthen the what? Clan, which the family and the individual is what? Part of. We need to understand why these rules, why these systems, why these rules were made. They were not made to weaken the women. They were not made for us to think that women are lesser beings. No, they are not lesser beings. But they were made to strengthen the clan, to strengthen the family. Because a woman in her menstrual cycle is not in the peak of her psychic being. Is not in her peak. Sorry, is not in her peak of her psychic being. She is at the peak of, should I call it, negative vibration, where she is removed. Remember that blood is life. So that period, she is shedding herself of unwanted blood, unwanted power, unwanted creativity in her system. So she needs to be secluded. So in that period of seclusion, you don't expect her to come in and start playing some vital roles, because she is in her state, as in her vulnerable state. Now, remember, you do not send a sick soldier to the battlefront. You do not put a round peg in a square hole. Every created form has where they are particularly good. Everything created have where they are particularly good. Everything has their strength and their weakness. So that men are expected naturally to lead do not make them better than women. That nature has empowered man to lead does not make man better than woman. That nature has created women to be the great creative vessel to bring forth children does not make women also what? Better than men. A clan is strong when each person faces what they are naturally good at. Now, what does it mean? A woman can break kola for his she or ancestors privately because the prayer is privately to her she. It's privately what? To her she. But she cannot do so on behalf of her what? Family. A woman can break kola for his, she, or ancestors privately, but cannot do so on behalf of her family. Why? Because she is not the head of her family. When they believe for, and in they believe for, it's best to do that thing. if you are the president of a nation, there is a role that is fairly kept for you as the president of a nation, and it's best for you to execute that role. So a woman is not the leader of her clan. A woman is not the leader of her family. So that means she cannot break kola, which is an important duty. She cannot break it on behalf of her family or on behalf of her what? Clan. Whether her father or her husband is dead or they are not around, it is sacrilegious for her to take upon the role of the head of the family. Breaking of Kolanut is the role of Ndi-Ichie or Ndi-Ichie known as the family. Any role that will create the public impression that a woman is now head of a clan or her family is a cultural aberration. If the husband is dead, her son, her husband's brother, or nearest relative has to take upon this role publicly. Remember, I'm saying publicly. A woman can only offer prayers for her family at her own personal altar. At her own personal altar. We must understand there is a personal altar, family altar, and communal altar. A woman's limitation begins and ends in her personal altar. Sorry, a woman's limitation begins and ends in her family and communal altar, not her personal altar. A woman has a personal right, and she can exercise that personal right. Personal religious right in her personal altar. But when it comes to communal existence or family existence, no, she cannot take up some certain role, especially that leadership role. So a woman cannot pray on behalf of her family publicly at communal altar or what family altar. Remember, the kind of prayer we are saying, officiating prayer. It's not that she cannot come here to pray. She can pray at the communal altar or family altar. There will be an officiating priest. And it's that priest that will take the kola from her, make the final prayers, and break the kola if as need be. These things are tricky. We need to understand it. Now, we need to state clearly that an unmarried maiden or a woman living in her parents' house cannot have a personal altar. Now, we are saying that a woman can pray at her personal altar. We are saying is a woman that is married. A woman that is still living in her husband's house, in her father's house, cannot have a personal altar. A woman living in her father's house cannot have what? A personal altar. Even if that woman has been married before and has returned back to her father's house, she cannot have a personal altar. It's only a married woman that is in her husband's house can have a personal altar. Unless this same rule also applies to a man. Once you are living under your father's roof, you cannot have a personal altar. Like I've said before, there cannot be two captains in a ship. There cannot be two captains in what? In a ship. So, a woman that wants to have her private altar needs to be married or needs to have her own what? Place. She either needs to be married, where her husband will give her a personal space where she will call on she and her family gods. Or the woman has her own personal space. She is wealthy enough to buy land for herself or build a house for herself, and she is living, she is in charge of that place, so she can do whatever she wants there because she is in charge there. Now, one may ask, why should a married woman have her own private altar, but a woman living with her father cannot? The answer is simple. A woman living with her father is under the protection of her father. A woman living with her father is under the protection of what? Her father. Who is her natural leader? Remember, we need to understand where leadership is placed. Because the problem we have in this world is when we don't understand where leadership is placed. A woman living with her father is under the protection of what? Her father. But a woman living with her husband is like a footballer on a loan. A footballer on a loan does not have equal rights with other footballers who are completely under the who are bought by the club. So a footballer on a loan belongs to the club that loaned the footballer and also the club that paid for the footballer. So a married woman is not and can never be a full member of the family she is married into. As in the eyes of Ordinana, a married woman cannot and can never be a full member of the family she is married into. Her real loyalty or existence lies with her father's family. So if she's now going for EJD, what we call EJD, marriage, she has to go with the gods of her family to protect her. And that's why she needs a personal space, because she's not a full member. She can decide not to worship the gods her husband people are worshiping. Her real, even if she's worshiping the one, she wants to worship the one her husband family is worshiping, she doesn't have to deny. She still has loyalty to her family deities, to her own she. So this is why she needs a space where she can maintain the link between her family, which is her primary source, while she's residing at what? At her husband's house. Now, having her personal altar, this does not make her a co-leader with her husband. Having her personal altar does not make her a co-leader with her husband. She can pray with Nzu or break kola at this personal altar. But anytime she wants to make a blood sacrifice, her husband, who is her leader in that family, will officiate at this special ceremony at her personal altar. If the husband is no more, the son will come in, or any male relative. She cannot do it because that family she's staying, she's not a full member there. So she cannot play that vital role of sacrifice. If she wants to offer a blood sacrifice, like she cannot do it. It's her husband that will come in that will do it, to do it, her son, a closest relative. Because there are those who are full members of that word, family. So, however, when a woman has her own personal space, she can decide what works. When a woman has her own personal space, she alone decides what works. She runs this personal altar in her own house. How she decides. Please, mark the word personal space. It's not when you are married and your husband is dead and you say it's your personal space. It's not your personal space. It is not your personal space. Personal space is that you are not under any obligation, be it father or husband. You are on your own. You are not married to anybody. You are not beholden to anybody. The house you are living in is fully bought and paid for by you. It's not like your husband builds a house and she dies and you say it's not your personal space. It's not your personal space. You must understand the rules in Ordinana. It still belongs to your husband's family through your son. If you want your own personal space, you know that you are working, you use the money that you are working to buy a land or rent an apartment, and it totally belongs to you. And you are not married. Emere ego n'isi you. Emere ego what? N'isi you. If you are married to someone, if only will belong, as in is now tricky, it's dicey. So we need to understand this and know where women can officiate and where they cannot officiate. And what kind of women can even officiate and the ones that cannot officiate at all. So these things are very clear. If you are still confused, I will wait for you in the comment section to answer your question so we understand this. So we do not take how, because some of us are trying to see Ordinana from Western lenses. Western religion, especially Christianity, is based on individual existence. Ordinana is not based on individual existence. It's based on family and clan existence. So there are some rules. There are some things you cannot just say and say, I'm free to do whatever you like. You are free to do whatever you like. Quite all right. But there are repercussions. You cannot force your sheep to answer prayers if they are not prayed where they are supposed to, or you do not follow the due process. Because at the end of the day, there is method, there is order in everything in this life. Every culture have their own process of doing things. So if you want to follow Ordinana, you must follow the order of things in Ordinana. If you want, as a woman, if you want to set up your altar, you must make sure that you are not married. If you are married, you must make sure that it's within the space that is provided to you at your husband's house, and you are praying to your own she and your family deity. Simple. Whatever you do there is personal between you and your she and your family deity, and you cannot kill anything there. So we need to understand these things. I hope this teaching will help clarify some of these things for us. Thank you.
We also have a festival, an Afiolo festival that is coming up very soon. I'm using this opportunity to invite you people. I'll put on the invitation is on the screen. It's a 4-day Igbo festival. If you also want to support in any way if you want to support this festival in any way, it will really be pleased. All I'm doing at this Obezio part Ikolo Media is to promote and propagate Ordinana. Thank you very much.
Oduko Kolanut anọrọ yo. Ndukwu na-abịa ike n'orimiri. Awanita azụka nrịkọ ya ejipu. Ukwu na-eje wala wala. Anya na-aga awa m n'ọfụlụgo. Nwokenye nọ n'ụlọ egwu amụọ n'ọbụ. Okwu ị na-asọ anya onye dị ya ekwu. Ndebulala uliti n'ọsọ bakasị. Riem dalo nunu na-egwu emebena.
For watching this video. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, and share. I would like to hear from some of you. If you have any questions, please, you can reach me through the number on the screen, or my email address, or my other social media handles. Thank you.